So let's talk about contracts. This is a very common question that people have. And because of all the online resources that are available out there, whether it's a specific website that has free templates or do it yourself or paid services, or even AI nowadays that says, hey, AI will generate a contract for you, do an NDA with AI, or any type of sales contract, AI will generate it for you, make changes. And there's a lot of, I've even tested some software in the legal industry that will use AI within drafting of contracts and negotiating and things like that, which can be, some of those can be actually pretty decent. The biggest thing really when it comes to drafting contracts or any kind of agreement is really just making sure that, like, the experience, the pros and cons of hiring a lawyer for that kind of stuff is, if it's a very complex transaction, there are a lot of times intricacies and specifics of that type of transaction that if you go to an attorney who specializes in that type of deal, does those contracts all day long, and they know, number one, how to negotiate them, what some of the terms are that are market these days under those contracts, and give you advice along the way. But I think the biggest pro of hiring someone to help you is that inside knowledge of those areas, those pitfalls you may not know about. So AI or any type of online service, and there's a link down in this course to a list of resources or some potential places you can find legal templates, either for free or for low cost, of all kinds of different types of agreements. And sometimes those will work, but the biggest pro is, obviously the inside knowledge of somebody who does this type of thing and may know about some specific pitfall, some legal issue that's specific to you in your circumstance, in your state, under your state's laws, that may not apply to that general contract template that you're using. So, I get people who will come in and say, hey, I prepared this myself. Can you just take a look at it and see if there's any problems? That's usually not that helpful, because a lot of times I will see issues with it or problems. So I just caution people that it's always worth doing a little bit of research to see, are there some areas where maybe something I'm not thinking about? There could be tax implications. There could be some kind of state law that prohibits you, or some local law that there's a restriction on what you're trying to do in this contract, and all of a sudden it's no longer valid, or there's been recent changes in the law. The contract draft you're looking at is from 5 years ago and it doesn't apply. So narrowing it down to what am I trying to do with this contract, getting the right template and doing some research on it is always necessary before you basically go forward with it. Give it a try, look at templates, look at AI. And I tell clients, like, if you don't really want to pay a couple $1,000s to prepare a bunch of contracts, give it a shot. Take a look online, see what you can find, even what AI might be able to create. It might work for you, but just there is a risk that you're taking by doing that there are some areas of law that you may not be able to think about, like, for example, tax issues, implications of that. And I do a lot of deals where people are raising money and they're like, okay, well, let's just set up a limited partnership or an LLC. We'll draft the partnership agreement. We'll just get a template online, or we'll find one. AI will generate one for us. The problem is, when I take a look at it and I start asking about the specifics, oh, well, we've got some passive investors coming in. They're coming into this deal. We're going to buy some land and develop it. And we just use this partnership agreement we found online. Well, basically, I have to tell them that you just did a securities offering under securities law, and you didn't comply with securities law. Your passive investors or passive partners now have a certain legal rights. They could sue you for a right of rescission, meaning all of their money back plus interest. The SEC or state regulatory agencies could come after you. So there are some things that go beyond what you find in a legal template online. So if it's a very basic transaction, look at the dollar amount too. Like, okay, we're talking about a $500 contract. Yeah, I don't want to pay a lawyer $1,000 to help me with this for a $500 contract. Or it's a contract that's, $20 a month in some type of SaaS contract that you're doing for your online business, yeah, maybe it's not worth spending that kind of money on a lawyer to draft that. But you just look at what are the risk versus the rewards of, okay, am I minimizing my risk by hiring an attorney to make sure I'm not missing anything? So just ask yourself that. Otherwise, I don't really have huge problems with online contracts or even AI. Even attorneys start with templates when they start out, but it's that experience and knowledge of all these other areas of law that you may not know about. So that's my only caution on that. Otherwise, I don't see huge issues in using them.